Happy 2018 to you all out there. I certainly hope it's a prosperous and profitable year for you from a gambling perspective as well. As far as 2017 went, well, it started off well for me and it certainly ended well for me because yesterday I had a 15-time best bet winner on the 49ers. Was there possibly an easier game on Sunday's NFL card? I don't think so. You know, I've always told you that being a former reporter, as a handicapper, I have always relied on the eyes and the ears of the beat reporters because I know, having been a reporter, that nobody knows more about the teams than the guys covering them. They're there 7 days a week, on the field, around the players, around the coaches, etc. So I have always used them. And the internet, my God, the greatest invention in the world when it comes to gambling, when it comes to handicapping. So in covering yesterday's somewhat meaningless Week 17 card, as I alluded to in yesterday's video report, you had to be really careful because a lot of teams already had wrapped up their playoff seeding. Those games are meaningless. So you had to be aware of their motivation, whether or not the coaches really cared, whether some of the players really cared, and in some cases, how many coaches were going to pretty much take a pass on yesterday's game in terms of resting significant starters. So I'm handicapping the games with that in mind. And I get to the LA Times yesterday, and I already knew with the Rams that Todd Gurley wasn't going to play, that Jared Goff wasn't going to play. But now I'm reading the Rams beat reporter yesterday and reading some of the stories, and I also saw their starting center wasn't going to play, and their starting left tackle wasn't going to play, and one of their starting linebackers wasn't going to play, and their starting defensive end wasn't going to play. One of their starting wide receivers wasn't going to play, and their two other starting wide receivers weren't going to play much, if at all. Then a game that I like the 49ers because, listen, they were already 4-0 straight up and against the spread since acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo and putting him in the starting lineup, and a team, the 49ers, that were looking to build momentum with a 5-0 finish going into next season, and a team that had motivation, was playing a team that really had nothing to play for, and that team, the Rams, really didn't give a damn about yesterday's game because they were focused on the postseason. And then I came across the quote that really made my mind up, that Sean McVay, the Rams coach, really wasn't too concerned about having his offense being fine-tuned for the postseason like a lot of coaches were, because he saw how his team responded after a Week 9 mid-season bye by coming out and obliterating the New York Giants on the road when they scored like 51 points, that he felt that by taking off yesterday's game, by playing all the reserves, that he felt good that his team would immediately get back into the groove next week in the postseason. Game, set, match. I didn't need that little guy on my shoulder whispering to me, bet me, bet me, bet me. I could do that myself after reading that preview story. How easy were the 49ers on yesterday's card? On the other end of the spectrum, you also saw the Saints, who I talked about in yesterday's video report. A team that simply did not play well on the road all season against a Buccaneers team who had nothing to play for, even though I gave you the Saints as a free play, and I split the 4 complimentary plays in the NFL yesterday. Even though I gave you the Saints, I warned you that I was a little bit concerned with the way the Buccaneers had played down the stretch, even though they had nothing to play for. The way their last 4 games were right there, so close, and what do? They pull off the win. But as I said, hit a couple of the 4 plays yesterday to take a split, and I've got a couple of College Bowl selections for you coming up here to kick off this new year. Now, in terms of the big featured plays today, a couple of them to talk about. First would be Brad Wilton, who since rejoining the site is a perfect 4-0 with his Up the Ante 150 dime plays, and today another one going, Up the Ante 150 dime winner number 34 of 58, Clemson and Alabama. Yes, 4th 150 dime play in college football since December 3rd, 2016. And 105, 75, and 5 record with 100 dime plays or higher in all sports. That record goes back over 3 years. Matches Huss's 150 dime winner, his first one since returning to the site. Back on Clemson over Miami in the ACC title game. Matches his 150 dime winner, his most recent one on Oklahoma State over Virginia Tech last Thursday. You got all these winners for over half price off. Same thing goes today by using the coupon code BRAD. The other big play today, Jeff Benton. This college football season, perfect 4-0 with 109 max wager releases, including 3 for 3 here in the College Bowl season. Most recent one, Penn State over Washington on Saturday. Also cashed with Stanford, holding on for the cover against TCU, and Iowa over Boston College today. One and only 150 dime college football game of the year. Georgia and Oklahoma. Use coupon code BOWL, BOWL, to get it for over half price off. And Chris Jordan, 11th ever triple your wager 3,000 star college football release in 35 years, Central Florida and Auburn. You get it for over half price off by using coupon code Chris, his first name. $1 bettors up over 57 grand the past 402 days, a little over 12 and a half months following Chris Jordan. All your other discounts, coupon codes, etc. are over on the home page. Let's get to your complimentary plays. You have to bear with me here, getting over a little cold and sore throat, so the voice is a little shaky here. And I guess it doesn't help that it's 9:15 in the morning and I just got done working all night and have yet to sleep as well. So let's talk about a couple of these games here. First, the Rose Bowl battle between Georgia and Oklahoma. Listen, guys, I've ridden Oklahoma enough this year. They certainly don't owe me anything in terms of making me money, but I can't back the Sooners today. Maybe it's because Baker Mayfield has felt as bad as I have in the past week, supposedly. Whether he's battling flu-like symptoms, a head cold, who the hell knows? It's been a national secret. But I like Georgia here. Listen, the Bulldogs have played one bad game. It was against Auburn, and they certainly atoned with that great defensive effort when they shut down that Auburn offense in the SEC championship game rematch. This is a well-rested Georgia team with their running backs, Chubb and Michael, who are rested with fresh legs versus an Oklahoma run defense that is nothing special. In fact, this is 4 times this season Oklahoma allowed opponents to run for over 200 yards. An Oklahoma run defense that gave up over 144 yards a game this season. An Oklahoma run defense that allowed opposing backs to average a healthy 4 yards a carry. And think about it. Oklahoma plays in a pass-happy conference. A conference where, you know, everybody plays some version of an up-tempo spread attack, where other than Oklahoma State with Justice Hill, you know, it's not a conference, the Big 12, where everybody likes to run the ball. And yet the Sooners were so vulnerable to teams that ran the ball. Georgia's going to run the ball down their throat. And yet, let's not overlook the contributions of their freshman quarterback this season, Jake Fromm, who completed well over 60% of his passes, 21 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and threw for over 2,100 yards. So they can move the ball. But this Georgia defense, it's for real. And Oklahoma has not faced a speedy, athletic defense like Georgia will bring to the table today, with a strong linebacker core like Georgia will bring today. The best defense that Oklahoma faced all season this year would be maybe Iowa State's defense. And they lost that game, remember? 38-31. That's the best defensive team that Oklahoma plays all season long. Yeah, it wasn't Ohio State. It was Iowa State, and they lost that game. This is a Georgia offense that keeps the chains moving, converting at a 47.3% clip on the season. This is a Georgia offense that, in the time of possession battle, does extremely well. 32 minutes a game. That's 18th in the nation. The longer Georgia keeps moving those chains, less time Baker Mayfield has to navigate the field and to propel that Sooner offense closer to the end zone. I just think that when I look at Oklahoma's season, they failed against Iowa State, the second best defense, and maybe in many regards the best defense that Oklahoma played this season was actually University of Texas. And they went into Austin. And yeah, they won that game. 29-24 because, listen, Texas offensive problems all season long. But think about it. That was another defense that Oklahoma had issues against. And Georgia's defense is better than UT's. It's better than Iowa State's. And for those reasons, that's why Georgia is going to be able to beat them today in this contest. Georgia minus the 2.5 is to play. If the line goes up to 3, I am absolutely buying down the half point in this situation. The early game at 1 o'clock Eastern Time in the Citrus Bowl at the Camping World Stadium in Orlando. I like LSU minus the 3 points against Notre Dame, and naturally in this situation I'm going ahead and buying down the half point on the Tigers. Granted, I am a big Coach O fan, Ed Orgeron. Now, there is an issue here in Baton Rouge, the ongoing dispute between Coach O and his offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, who they paid a lot of money to bring him in to Baton Rouge during the offseason to revamp this LSU offense. And word has it that after this game, those two are going to part company, and Canada is going to be hitting the road because they don't share the same offensive philosophy. But the bottom line in this game is Darius Geis is healthy. This is a guy who battled a bunch of nagging injuries to his knee, to his ankle early in the season. At the end of the season, the last 4 or 5 games, he was healthy, and you saw how this Tigers offense moved. This is a strong ground game, a ground game that's only going to get better with the return of senior left tackle KJ Malone, who's going to be in the starting lineup today, playing his first game since October 7th. And remember, Darius Geis, a guy who could have skipped this game because he's a junior year guy who's probably going to skip his senior season and be a projected first round draft pick. Not only is he in the backfield, but LSU also has who's the other guy? Williams, Darrell Williams, a guy who averaged 5.7 yards a carry and ran for over 700 yards as well. So it's a powerful 1-2 punch for the LSU offense, which isn't flashy, but it's a turnover-free offense taking on a Notre Dame team that totally collapsed defensively down the end of the regular season. And offensively, Notre Dame is as one-dimensional as you can possibly be. A Notre Dame offense that relies on Josh Adams and Brandon Wimbush to move the chains on the ground, but forget about moving it through the air. Their quarterback, a 49.8% passer this year. That's it. And it's an offense that's been crippled by suspensions and injuries. One wide receiver, Chase Claypool, with 29 catches, averaged almost 14 yards a catch. He's out injured. They suspended another wide receiver, Kevin Stefferson. 19 catches, almost 19 yards per reception. They suspended him. Their tight end, Elias Mack, 19 catches, almost 9 yards a carry. Reception, he's been suspended for the contest as well. So a passing game that wasn't that good to begin with, it has problems. The Notre Dame defense down the stretch, obliterated by Miami of Florida, 41-8, gave up 274 rushing yards, 5.6 yards a carry. Navy, okay, granted, Navy with that rush triple option attack, it's hard to stop the midshipmen. They ran for 277 yards. In the Stanford loss on the road, they couldn't stop Bryce Love. He ran for 125 yards on 20 carries. In the Wake Forest game, they won that game, but Wake Forest, 587 yards, 239 of them on the ground. Demon Deacons averaging 6 yards a carry. Again, this is a Notre Dame defense that totally fell apart at the end of the season. I just like LSU here. I think Orgeron is one of those guys who motivates his team, whether he has the talent or not. I like LSU. I'm buying down the half point on the Tigers in this particular spot. Of those two picks, I like Georgia more than LSU, but I'm fine with either one of those SEC teams in this particular situation. The other game, I'm looking at Central Florida and Auburn. It's a tough game to go with. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You know, I think if Auburn's motivated, they can absolutely destroy Central Florida. The question is, does Auburn care about this game? You know, after having a potential shot of playing for the national championship go out the window when they lose the rematch with Georgia, you tell me how focused the Tigers will be here. Central Florida plays no defense. If the Tigers want to, I think they could ring up 45 points with ease here. But you tell me, are they going to be ready, and do they care about playing in the Beach Bowl today? I think the best way to go in this particular contest, why not take the over? I mean, Central Florida plays no defense, right? I think Auburn, whether motivated or not, can certainly put points on the board. And I think Central Florida, a team that averaged 47 points a game during the regular season, I think they're going to put some points on the board in this game. So I would lean toward the over and just skip the side because, again, unless you know something I don't and can predict the future better than me and you're a psychic, why mess around with the side in that game? Just take the over and just put it to bed early. So again, Georgia, LSU, over Central Florida and Auburn. Those are your plays for today. Good luck, guys, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Lots of college basketball. Can't wait to make money in college hoops, too. Good luck.